What's up everyone, DeVille here, and in this video we are going to talk about Upwork proposal funnels. The Upwork proposal funnel. In our most recent video, we talked about how I earn $500 for a couple lines of text, 5 to 7 words, generating $500 with basically less than a paragraph of text. Check that out, it's in a link up there if you want to see that. Today's video, we're talking about Upwork proposal funnels. Make sure you like this video if you like anything in this video. Subscribe and click the notification bell so that you never miss a video. So many of you send a whole lot of proposals and you don't get any responses. You send and I get this question a lot. I've sent 100 proposals across this month, across this week. I haven't gotten a single response. I've gotten one response. Why is nobody responding to me? And the answer for most of you is it comes down to a misunderstanding of the proposal process and how it works. So the proposal process is a funneling process. It starts with a funnel. If you would imagine, or I'll probably put a graphic on the screen, but like an actual funnel. It starts wide at the top, it comes down to a narrow point, and that is how a funnel works. And the proposal funnel, and funnels in general, have three general stages. There's an awareness stage where the client becomes aware of a service, a product, a solution. There's a consideration stage where the client is considering the options or considering your option. And then finally, there's a conversion stage where they buy, where they become a customer. They go from consumer, general consumer to customer. What I'm seeing from freelancers is that a lot of you think that you send a proposal and then you should get hired. And so that's how that question comes across. You say, I've sent a whole bunch of proposals and I've not gotten hired. But that's because you're skipping a stage. You're skipping the consideration stage. And when I look through your profiles, I always see this. So when you send your proposal, you are in, and the client is in the awareness stage. They have to become aware of your service. So you send a proposal, and therefore, the purpose of your proposal is not to get the client to hire you. It is to get the client to become aware of you and then to consider you as an option. We want to move them into the consideration stage. So the first thing that your proposal has to do is get the client to open it so that they can read it and consider you. Which means the first goal of your proposal is to get open. It means that you have to say something in either a headline statement or in the first line of your proposal that will get the client to open it. You have to increase the volume of views that you are getting to your proposals before you can increase the volume of responses and ultimately the volume of sales. In this stage, you need to test different headlines. You need to say different things in a headline, which a headline is a single statement at the top of your proposal. You just write one line, that's your headline, just saying something that calls attention to your proposal. Or in the first line of your paragraph. That line should not be any version of, I have read over your proposal and I can do this. I have read over your job post and I have 10 years of experience in this. I've read over your job and I am 100% confident I can deliver exactly what you need, sir. If you say anything like that, you're not getting a response. Nobody's going to respond to you. You have to speak about the client's problems. You have to say something that will catch their attention based on what they need help with. You have to show that you read their job post and you have to reflect that. And I think that you-focus approach is one of the best ways to do that by starting with any word other than I and saying something like, you need this, and just repeating the exact thing that they said they needed. And that's a good way to get attention because it calls their eyes to your words because they said, I need this, and you said, you need this. We are aligned because we're talking about the exact same thing here. Once you get them to open your proposal, now you have entered the consideration stage. They are now considering you. And here's where most freelancers fall off. So even if they open your proposal, even no matter what you say, whatever, they quickly glance through your proposal, even if you didn't say something that was really eye-catching, the client looks through it. They do not make a hiring decision right now. They are considering you and they are comparing you with the other options that are available to them. And during this process, they are not just considering your proposal, they are also considering your profile, your description, your biography. They are considering your portfolio samples. They are considering the past work that you have done. They are looking at everything. This is consideration. And so now you are in the consideration phase. And what I see from many, many freelancers is once the client is getting to this phase with you, that's where things fall off. You don't have relevant samples, or you don't have any samples in your portfolio. Your description barely says anything, and it definitely doesn't say anything of value for the client. It shows that you don't target the exact thing they do. It makes you look like a generalist. You say that you do 10 different things in your title, and all of those things aren't the thing that the client asked for. These are the things that are stopping you from getting to the next phase, because when I look at your profile as a client, and I'm considering what you've said, you're saying that you can do this job, but I'm saying that I want someone who can solve a very specific problem. When I go to your profile and I look at all the things as a big picture, the portfolio, the description, the title, everything that you've said, your work history, and it doesn't add up to this person is a specialist in this thing that I need help with, now I move on. I move on to whoever is next in line, the person who does look like more of a specialist than you. And there is almost always someone. Someone has almost always got a more targeted title, or their bio says that they do the thing that I need, or their portfolio examples are much closer to the style that I want. And that is how I'm choosing. That's how I'm choosing as a client. I give them consideration, and then I make a decision to respond to them. And that is the very next phase. So your proposal, its main job is to get the client to open it. And then its secondary job is to try and say something that will move the client to not only consider you, but to respond to you. We're still not in the conversion phase. I mean, we are getting a small, like a minor conversion event when they respond to you, but they're still in the consideration phase when they respond, because now if you get a response, you've narrowed yourself down a little bit. You have much less competition, but they might interview several people. So among the options that they have, now they consider between those options and they say, okay, now I've got maybe 3 freelancers. Of these 3 freelancers, which one is the most likely to be able to do what I need done and to do the best job of it for the best price and to outperform the other freelancers? So maybe you're down to like 3 people that they have to choose from. And so now you have to continue moving them through this process toward the conversion phase of the funnel. And the reason many of you do not make it past this is because you do weird stuff whenever you get a response. You don't respond quickly to clients, or you say weird stuff, or you start talking pricing immediately, or you start demanding certain rates. All kinds of weird stuff happens in messages. And for those of you who are trying to get bigger deals and bigger clients, you're not getting on phone calls. And if you don't get on a phone call, you're definitely not getting hired over a freelancer who does get on a phone call for those higher rates, because the person who is willing to get on live video and talk about their expertise and their service, if you're willing to do that, then you are going to connect more deeply with the client, and they are going to have way more reasons to hire you. So the high level picture here is proposals happen in the awareness phase. You bring awareness to yourself as a freelancer, and then you move into the consideration phase with the client. The client is moving into the consideration phase, and even whenever they get to the interview part of this, that's still the consideration phase. The conversion is when you actually get the client to fund a contract and fund that contract with you, or you close a sale, you get paid, you make some money. That is a conversion. That's the conversion here. But in between there, you have to send your proposal. Your proposal has to say something eye-catching in that first line that is going to get the client to open it. And then they need to ideally read through your proposal and see relevant things there. They need to see, maybe you link to some relevant examples of your work that match exactly what they need, or match closely what they have asked for in their job post. That's a really relevant thing that you can do. If you're an illustrator and a client asks for a certain style of illustration, then you should link them to one of your samples, 1 or 2 of your samples that are as similar in style to what they have asked for as possible. Don't just link to a bunch of random samples. Don't just link to your Dropbox portfolio with 1 million samples that aren't relevant and the client doesn't even know where to start, because that's not valuable for them. That's not respecting their time, and it's not relevant. And the less relevant you are, the less of a professional you look like, and the less likely you are to get that response. So that is the proposal funnel in a nutshell. Proposals are sent in the awareness phase, and then the client goes through the consideration phase, but you need to not only have a good custom proposal tailored just for their job post that shows that you understand what they actually need, that you read their job post, and that you actually are a professional who can help them with the problem that they think they need solved, not the problem that you think they need solved. And then you also have to have a fully built out profile with a nice bio, a good targeted headline, good targeted title, work experiences, other experiences, and portfolio samples that are all laid out that are going to help the client realize that you are the right fit for this. If you are sending 100 proposals and not getting a response, it's because you're flawed from the start. You're trying this mass approach of sending a bunch of proposals to every little thing that you think that you can do, and you're taking a generalized approach, and clients don't want a generalist, they want specialists because they're trying to solve specialized problems most of the time. So you have to get a little bit more narrow if you want to have any chance of standing out at all, because specialists always stand out beyond, like way beyond any generalist. And even as a brand new freelancer who has zero experience on the platform, you can get hired over generalists whenever you show that you are more relevant than them for what the client needs done. And I've even proven this as recently as the last week when I hired freelancers who had zero experience but gave them a chance, because when they sent their proposal, they sent examples of a very similar style to what I needed help with. So that made them more relevant even than people who had 30,000 earned on their profile, because those other people didn't send relevant samples. They didn't address my problems the way that they need to be addressed. So proposal funnel starts in the awareness phase, you move into the consideration phase, and everything has to come together here. Your proposal, your profile, and then you move to the interview, and the interview is still in the consideration phase. And from the interview, you have to figure out how are you going to move this client to buy from you versus the next person. So what are you saying here? What can you offer to them here that makes you worthwhile, makes you a better choice than the next freelancer? Of the 2 or 3 freelancers they've got to choose from, what makes you the best of those 3? And sometimes it's small things like I said, getting on a call, just being willing to show up on a video call with them and just talk about your services. Sometimes that is all that is needed to show that you are a next level professional over these other people. Sometimes it's just over delivering a little bit. You know, if a client like me asks for illustration, maybe you send 2 samples, or maybe you send a sample of your work that's a little bit closer to what I want. Or, you know, if I do a test project with you, maybe you send me 2 variations instead of 1. That's just helping you going forward. That's just examples of over delivering. Of course, that one's already after the conversion event, but you have to think about how to make yourself valuable for this client, and you have to think about how to make yourself valuable beyond the other people that they are considering in this phase, because your goal is to get them to narrow in more and more. We're getting more and more narrow here. We start from a high level place of awareness, moving into consideration, where we are considering a whole bunch of freelancers, 20 to 50 a lot of the times. And then from those, it's really narrow, 2 or 3 freelancers who are in consideration at the final stage. And out of those 2 or 3, the client is probably only going to choose 1, maybe 2 of you. Who knows? Depends on what they need. So you have to have some reason in that final stage why they should choose you over the next person. Figure out what makes you valuable for them. That's how a proposal funnel generally works on Upwork. If you are not getting many gigs, it is because you are not targeted enough, most likely, and you're not really applying to jobs where you can help the client better than anybody else. And that starts with your targeting. That starts with picking the right audience for your skills and services and narrowing yourself down so that when you reach out to them in that awareness phase, they have reason to open your proposal and consider you over everyone else. Let me know your thoughts in a comment down below. That's all I've got for this video. We'll probably run some more proposal writing tutorials soon, so that is coming up. Make sure that you have liked this video, subscribe, get the notification so you don't miss any of the proposal tutorials. And I'm going to try and walk you guys through some of the stuff that is really going to help you stand out. Thanks so much for watching. I'm DeVille. I will see you next time.